Like to call the meeting to order, please. Good morning. Tuesday, November 23rd, 9 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. Just before we start, I asked Deputy Warden Dave, would you come up and give me a hand, please? To ask Carolyn, Jenna, Ann. I forgot. Catherine, come on up, please. Consider this a pleasant task. Always nice to say thank you. I don't have to explain all the help and benefit we get from these girls, these young ladies. Believe me, I appreciate it. So I'm saying thank you on behalf of all of us for all you do. You did an awful lot, make me look good the other night. I'll tell you, yeah, it's a big job. I appreciate it very, very much. So, Catherine.
Thank you.
Okay. Carolyn. Thank you. Sure, appreciate it. All right. Adoption of minutes, November 9th. Entertain a motion to receive. Deputy Warden Mennel, second by Bob Purcell. Councillor Purcell, call the vote. All in favor, sorry.
Do we have to?
Thank you, carries. I will remind everyone of disclosure of pecuniary interest, the general nature thereof. And I will note none. Item 4 is presenting petitions, presentations, and delegations, and I will note none. Motion to move into committee of the whole. Council, please. Moved by French, second by Catchable. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. We have two requests that 2 additional reports be considered. Appointment of deputy clerk and the deputy clerk's alternative, and appointment of treasurer and deputy treasurer. Do we need to have a vote on that? Mover for that, please. Mennel, second by McPhail. I will call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. All right, we're at reports of council, outside boards and staff. Item 1 is accessibility coordinator, joint multi-year accessibility plan, 2021-2026.
Good morning, Warden and members of council. I am Sarah Savoy, the new accessibility coordinator for Elgin County. I recently joined the county about 2 months ago, and in that time, I've been able to get to know all the local municipal partners and work on them with the joint multi-year accessibility plan. So that's what I'm here to present with you today. I did want to mention that I do have a hearing disability, so if you have any questions, please do try to remember to use the microphone. Otherwise, I might have to have Amy help me out with that. So before we started, I just want to clarify that the recommendation should have stated to be received, filed, and approved. I apologize. I did not include approved in the original report. So, in regards to the joint multi-year accessibility plan, this was created in collaboration with Elgin County and its local municipal partners. The collaborative element is new this year. Sam was the one who put that recommendation in place, and it has worked really well so far. I think it will be a great way to kind of make it more effective for everybody. There's less work involved for all the local partners, and now we all kind of have a better understanding of what everyone's doing and how we can work together on accessibility initiatives. The plan is directly aligned with the AODA and the IASR, and it provides information to the public on how we're going to meet the accessibility requirements over the next 5 years. The main aim, of course, is to identify, remove, and prevent barriers for people with disabilities. So there are 3 sections that are actually new this year that I think are worth mentioning. These ones definitely help emphasize the support from the top, as well as provide clarity on the plan. So the first one is a message from the CAOs. This includes all the CAOs in Elgin County, as well as all the local municipal partners. And it basically just shows their support with the plan. And the next big item that I've added is the executive summary. Sorry. This just kind of gives you a highlight of what the plan's about, and it gives people kind of an understanding of the plan before they really dig into it. And the last thing was the inclusion of information about my role as the accessibility coordinator. The JAAC actually requested this. My understanding is they've been getting some complaints about accessibility, and they don't really have the capacity to act on them immediately. So it is preferred that any complaints are directed to me, and then I can take them to the committee. So I tried to make that clear in the plan so people know who to go to if they have any issues with accessibility. So the plan does require review every 5 years. However, changes may be made on an ongoing basis as needed. Something else I want to talk about a little bit is accessibility goals for Elgin County, some of the really important ones that are coming up. So there will be some monitoring of the IASR. It's my understanding that there may be 2 new standards implemented over the next few years, at least I'm hoping so. One of them is education and one of them is healthcare. Healthcare will be something that will concern us at the county level because of our long-term care homes. So if this is introduced, then we will have to update the MYAP, the policies, and we will have to provide more training most likely. So that is something we are keeping an eye on. I am also going to be working to update accessibility training over the next few years, specifically for individual departments to make sure that they're aware of the different types of legislation that affects them in their day-to-day work. It's essentially also going to help us with documentation of training, which is a compliance requirement, and to avoid accidental oversight. We don't want people to forget to consult, for example, or to overlook any of the accessibility requirements. Because legislations are so divided up and information can be found in multiple places, it's not always easy to know where to look. So that's kind of where the training comes in. The last biggest one is website redevelopment. So there will be continuous updates of the current website to meet compliance, but we will also be hopefully redeveloping it in the next 2 years. And I will also be providing training on PDF and accessible formats for PDF documents and Word documents and web accessibility. So that is something that I'm hoping to take on sooner than later. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the big updates that are coming up. There will be some other stuff that we're working on as detailed in the MYAP. If there are any questions or feedback, please let me know. I'm happy to hear it. If not, that's pretty much everything from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Good job. I sit on the Joint Accessibility Committee with Sarah. So I think we've had a couple of meetings, so good job. And I'll open the floor for questions for Sarah. Councillor Martin.
Welcome, Sarah, Sally Martin, and I very much appreciate your report, and it was excellent, and I certainly welcome you as the new coordinator. I've worked on that committee as well and very much appreciate everything that happens, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Further comments? Councillor McPhail, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Warden. Is this a position still shared with Middlesex?
Yes.
Okay, and that's working out well with you, Sarah? You have capacity to be able to maintain both counties?
Sorry, is that, would you like me to speak to that?
Well, I was just wondering that that situation is working well for you, being able to service both counties?
Yes, so far I feel like yes, largely because there are a lot of tasks that are actually quite similar. So fortunately, when I complete one, I can kind of just use it in both counties. So for example, training is all going to be pretty much the same. The MYAPs will have some similar aspects, but obviously we'll have a lot of differences because they are 2 different counties. I do feel like we are in a good place in terms of meeting all the deadlines for all the accessibility initiatives that are required by law, and then as well as the ones that we're doing because we want to continue to improve accessibility. If there was ever a point where I felt like the two jobs were not being attended to as well as they needed to be, then I would of course bring that up, because I would never want accessibility to be left on the back burner or to not be given as much attention as it needs to. So yes, I think at this point it's working out well, but I definitely appreciate the question because I can see how people might wonder how you can handle both counties at the same time. So thank you for asking that.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Further comments, questions? Entertain a motion to adopt the recommendation by Jones and Martin.
Just clarify that it is amended to include received, filed, and approved.
Everyone clear on that? And thank you for that reminder. If you're ready, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Sarah, before you go, would it be a good time to advertise the fact that we probably are looking for new members? We've had a couple of resignations, so if anyone knows someone that may have some interest, let us know. I think that's appropriate. All right. Thank you, Sarah. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
On to Director of Community and Cultural Services, Library, Museum, and Archives Service Updates, September to November. Morning, Brian. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Warden, and through you to council. This report provides council with a service update since September. Our services continue to operate under step 3 of the province's COVID-19 reopening strategy, which means we are operating at 50% capacity and subject to safety protocols, but without proof of vaccination required to enter our library branches, museum, and archives. We've received further clarification since I submitted the report that libraries are not on the list of eligible settings that can have 100% occupancy with proof of vaccination. And we also know that just with the current case counts that a cautious approach is still very much warranted. So we're continuing with the 50% occupancy at our facilities. I've outlined for you some of the many initiatives and programs staff have undertaken during this period. I would like to highlight a couple, and that is our public consultation on fine free for libraries is now closed as of Friday, and we received 146 responses. We are currently analyzing the results, which will form a future report to council on those results and how we may go forward on that matter. Secondly, I would like to highlight our Indigenous awareness and outreach. It was very meaningful for our staff to take part in events and programming and join members of council surrounding the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th, including programs at both West Elgin and Dutton Dunwich. You will also see that we are in the process of establishing a partnership with the Oneida Language and Cultural Center to have them included in our museum database and get some of their heritage collections listed on our database. We visit each other several times and look forward to growing this partnership and those with other First Nations communities where there may be potential surrounding such a partnership in our area going forward. And finally, I was very pleased to receive this rack card in the mail as a resident of Lyndhurst to promote our Shedden branch, which is the first of such direct marketing tools going out to our residents to promote county library services. And we will also be analyzing the results of these direct mailings because there's an incentive to bring this card in to bring in new cardholders. I can leave this or pass it around if I'm able for you to take a look. But in this particular case, it says, did you know you have another public library at your service in close proximity? We're targeting those neighborhoods around St. Thomas just to let them know as county ratepayers that they do have access to the county library services, even though they may see that the St. Thomas Library is their primary location. So again, this just went out last Monday. So for that, I'll pass it around and happy to answer any questions that may arise.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate the report. Open the floor for comments or questions. Looks like everyone's happy, fairly straightforward. So I will entertain a motion to receive by Jaguar, second by Martin. No further discussion. I'll call the vote. In favor? And again, that carries. Thank you, Brian. Move on to Director of Homes and Senior Services. Meals on Wheels Agreement, Elgin WECHC. Good morning, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you to members of council. So before you today is the report on Meals on Wheels between Elgin, which is actually Beaubrier Villa, and West Elgin Community Health Center. Back in July of 2018, there was an execution of an agreement for a 2-year agreement for Meals on Wheels services, but due to the pandemic restrictions, there was a pause and those services were suspended in April of 2020. Recently, we've had conversations with West Elgin Community Health Center in consultation with the county solicitor and myself, and we've reached consensus for a new meal supply agreement for a 2-year period starting January 5th. Of 2022 until January 4th, 24. You'll note in the report, there's meal price increases and minimal meal price increases, but still able to provide services to members of the community. And there is a large number awaiting services, so we're pretty excited to support them. So 2 recommendations before council: that the report be received and filed, and second, that council authorize the warden and CEO to execute the agreement as outlined in the document. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Michelle. Sounds like to me like good news. So we will open the floor for questions or comments. Councilor Martin.
I'm very happy to see it reinstated as well. I know very much when I traveled with them, I found it very interesting to see and how much people look forward, not just to the food, but the visit from the person who was delivering. And I know other council members have done it in their area as well. So I'm glad to see this is happening again. Thanks, Michelle.
I couldn't agree more with that. And you just had to look at the smiles around the horseshoe here. Yeah, very, very much well received. So again, very good news and straightforward. So entertain a motion for the 2 recommendations. Moved by Purcell, second by Ketchabah. Are we ready for the question? All in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Next, Director of Human Resources Compensation Review, RFP Award. Good morning, Amy. Welcome.
Good morning, Warden Marks and members of council. So following direction from council on August 10th, we were to proceed with the initiation of a market salary review, and a request for proposal was issued on September 22nd. Council resolved that the selection of consultant and market comparators would come back to council for review and approval to proceed. Today, we're seeking council approval to move forward with Gallagher Benefits Services Group, who submitted the most suitable of 3 proposals. Gallagher also completed our last market review in 2015. The list of comparators will be brought forward to council at the next meeting, should we have support to proceed as planned. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Amy? Fairly. Okay, Councilor McPhail.
Yes, Mr. Warden, I think we've discussed this already and I'm prepared to move the recommendation.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councilor Jaguar. Further discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you, Amy. Good report. Straightforward. Move on to I focus. Director of Human Resources, again, organizational culture initiative update. Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you to council. The report before council is meant to provide an update on important work that is underway related to the organizational culture. A great corporate culture doesn't happen by accident. It truly takes ongoing, long-term concerted efforts. So having a positive culture affects employee health and well-being, reduces turnover and absenteeism, and helps with recruitment efforts overall. Organizational culture improvement efforts should be focused on putting the systems in place, such as HR policies and procedures and leadership development, which supports the culture that we want. We have started the process of reviewing key HR policies and procedures, as well as the collaborative leadership team engagement to ensure our leaders are all on the same page and exhibit the culture that we desire and that supports employee health and well-being. Ultimately, leadership has a significant impact on workplace culture. Leaders must set the example when it comes to acceptable workplace attitudes and behaviors. Just last week, we completed the third of 4 leadership team sessions, and the HR policy work is ongoing with a focus group at the same time. Positive feedback so far has included a felt benefit of the collaboration with leaders across all the different service areas, and as well as gratitude that the organization is investing in such an initiative and gratitude for the opportunity to participate in such an initiative. So this report is meant to provide an interim update to council. Additional detail and completed policies and recommendations will be coming forth in the next month or so. And I'm happy to answer any questions or take away any feedback from council.
Thank you, Amy. Questions or comments for Amy? Every council meeting, I get up early and try to do a quick review of the agenda. And this was the first one that kind of opened it up, and there it was. And yeah, I see the benefit of it. So congratulate you on that. So I was pleased to see it. So I think everyone looks happy. So I'll entertain a motion to receive Deputy Warden Mennel and Councillor French. We'll call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you, Amy. Next, Manager of Planning, approval for official plan amendment number 10, Municipality of Central Elgin. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Warden. Through you to members of council, this report is a recommendation for approval of official plan amendment number 10 from the Municipality of Central Elgin. The property is located at 400 Sunset Drive in the community of Norman Lindale. The intent of the official plan amendment is to redesignate these lands from office professional to commercial. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Nancy. I wonder if you can just maybe tell everyone where this is.
Next door. For you, Mr. Warden, it is
Not very far away, is it?
properties
Yeah.
to the north of us.
Thank you, Nancy. Councilor Martin.
They're proposing to turn it into a restaurant, which we think is a great idea. It's been a very difficult, it's where the old school board office sat. It's the school boardroom, that's all that's left, and they're hoping to turn it into a restaurant. We think will be a great idea.
So questions, comments? Fairly straightforward. I will entertain a motion. Moved by Martin, second by,
Grant keeps that.
oh, Grant.
Trying to buy something at the auction.
Second by Jones. No further discussion. I will call a vote. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Bifocals again. Nancy, you're still up. Manager planning draft plan of subdivision, Craig Home Estates, phase 6, Municipality of Central Elgin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. Through you to members of council. This report is a recommendation for approval of a draft plan of subdivision located within the municipality of Central Elgin in the community of Belmont. The proposed residential plan of subdivision consists of 158 single detached lots, 17 semi-detached lots, semi-detached blocks, 4 street townhouse blocks, 1 future school block, and various blocks for stormwater, wetland, servicing, and new streets. The proposed conditions of the draft approval are also attached to the report. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Nancy. Councillor Martin, go ahead.
It's a rather exciting one for us because it's where the new school in Belmont will be going. So that's this, we've worked very hard to get this and to get a place for the school, and it's almost there.
Absolutely good news. So no more comments, questions? Seconder, please. By Martin, second by Fail. Are we ready for the question? All in favor? And that carries. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Move on to General Manager of Engineering, Planning and Enterprise, Deputy CAO. Bridge weight bylaw amendments. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Mr. Warden, through you to council. Following recent completion of biannual inspections of all county bridge and culvert structures, and as identified as part of the ongoing Fillmore Bridge Deck Replacement Engineering Project, bridge weight amendments for Fulton Bridge, Gillette Bridge, and Fillmore Bridge are warranted. Accordingly, the recommendation before you is that the report be received and that bridge weight bylaw 15-26 be amended based on the weight levels detailed before you for each structure. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Councillor Martin.
I'm just curious that Jamestown Bridge, was it okay the way it was? Is that why it's not in this list?
Yes, pre-existing posted limits are sufficient.
Further comments? Councillor Ketchba.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Brian, to you, I'm a little curious. Can you explain why the weight restrictions seem to be reversed on Fillmore Bridge? Like, why is a level 1 19 tons, whereas in Fulton it's 23 tons, and it scales down as you go up levels, whereas it's the other way around on the Fillmore. Goes from 19 to 33 to 49 tons. I'm just curious.
Agreed, Mr. Warden. That is based on our consultant's recommendation in accordance with the bridge's structural condition.
Yeah.
I'm happy to look into it a little bit more information, get some more clarification on it, and get back to council on that.
You know what I'm getting at? You know, go from a level 1 on both the Fulton and Gillette's, they're higher tonnage, whereas Fillmore's the reverse order. I'm just curious.
Right.
One's steel and the other are concrete. I get that, but.
Yeah. Let's circle back to the consultant and provide some clarification in that regard.
Councillor Martin.
Could you also explain, Brian, what level 1, 2, and 3 mean?
Yeah, it's through Mr. Warren to Councillor Martin. It's associated with the vehicle type and loading, wheel loading associated with various vehicles or truck sizes, large truck sizes, for lack of better words. So,
Brian, I have a question. I know where the Fulton and Fillmore Bridge are. I've probably been over Gillette's Bridge. I don't know if there's a sign there. Can you tell me where it is?
yeah, Gillette's Bridge spans Catfish Creek on Sparta Line.
That'd be east of Sparta?
Correct. Fulton Bridge spans Kettle Creek on Fulton Bridge Line.
It's over.
In Southwold.
Yeah.
And then Fillmore Bridge is in Ban on Richmond Road.
Okay. Councilor Purcell.
Yeah, Brian, do you anticipate or can you anticipate if this is going to have any impact on traffic, like regular truck use or farm implements, things like that?
Through Mr. Warden, we don't anticipate that to be the case. 2 of the 3 bridges are already posted and the amendments proposed here are relatively minor in terms of reductions. Fillmore Bridge is a new posting and will accordingly be additional signage will be posted at nearby intersections to help provide that advance warning to motorists as well. It's existed there for quite some time and the local community is quite familiar with respect to capabilities. So from a loading standpoint, we're not overly concerned with respect to local vehicles that use the bridge, agricultural communities and so on and so forth.
Councilor Martin.
Just one question on the Gillette's Bridge, and I must admit, I live in Sparta and I've never heard it called Gillette's Bridge. It's right near me. It says it's 2 lanes. It doesn't say it's 1 lane. It says it's 2 lanes. And I know a family that were going to the Yarmouth Natural Heritage area. I was a mother and 2 children. A guy came down the other hill coming west, going extremely fast, couldn't stop, swung around, like spun in almost a circle and came right by them. And she said it took the mirror off her car. And she was as far over, she was virtually against the side. So I'm just curious that it's considered a 2-lane bridge because anytime I've driven over it, I would not want to meet another vehicle on it. I just wondered if it should be noted as a 1-lane bridge rather than a 2, because it's got to be, you'd have to have small vehicles to be 2.
Through Mr. Warren, it is deemed a 2-lane bridge. Mind you, the lanes are quite narrow. It is an old structure many years ago. Size of vehicles would have accommodated 2 vehicles without issue. Today's vehicles obviously much larger. Caution needs to be taken when crossing over that bridge, certainly if there's an oncoming vehicle, but it is regarded as a 2-lane bridge.
The person who was involved in that said that she was certain they were going to die, that she was going to be hit head on with this car coming down at the speed it was coming and out of control.
All right. Any other further comments for Brian? Other recommendation? Brian?
Through Mr. Warden, just pointing clarification back to Councillor Ketchabaw's comments. The posting should in fact be 1933 and 49, just confirming what our consultant has sent us.
So that is a correction.
There's a required correction there, yeah.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
So is that an amendment or?
As is currently written, that is the clarification provided by our consultant. 1933 and 49.
Okay.
So just to clarify then, so are we suggesting that if Fillmore's is scheduled as a level 3, it has a capacity of 49 tons? Is that what it's trying to say?
Correct.
So if we were to conversely talk about Gillette's or the Fulton Bridge, the higher tonnage would be level 1s.
Correct. Again,
that's what I'm getting at. There's a little confusion here for me, and I just don't quite understand.
Right. So the various levels are associated with the vehicle types.
Right.
So a level 3 vehicles would be similar to a transport truck.
Mhm.
So a larger vehicle, thus equating to a reduced loading limit applied on the bridge. Again, we're happy to circle back to our consultant and get some clarification in that regard as it relates to Fillmore.
So a level 1 then would be same transport truck, or are we talking about a big car?
Level 1 would be a standard automobile and a pickup truck, whereas a level 4 would be applicable to a transport truck. And again, happy to get some more clarification.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Satisfied?
Nope.
Satisfied? Okay.
Yeah, we could defer.
Do we need to defer it for that or at your will and pleasure? Councillor Bob.
This is a question and a suggestion. Brian, would it be appropriate to defer this and not cause any problems and bring it back to the next meeting with those clarifications?
Absolutely happy to do so.
Okay, I move we defer it to the next meeting.
All right. And
I'll second that.
okay. Are we all clear on that? Okay, so it's a motion to defer. I will call the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Brian, you're still up. Curry Road pedestrian crossing, Village of Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. Warren, through the council. In response to a request received from the municipality of Dutton done with pedestrian crossing warrant analysis at the intersection of Curry Road and Mary Street within the Village of Dutton was analyzed. As a result of the study, staff recommends that a level 2 type C pedestrian crossover be installed at an estimated cost of $60,000, complete with rapid flashing beacons and projected curb radius extensions. Accordingly, staff recommends that the report be received, staff be directed to procure and install the PXO, and that the project be included in the 2022 capital budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Questions, comments for Brian? Councilor Martin.
Just one question I would have, sorry, Mr. Warden, through you. When we requested the crosswalk in Belmont, it was determined that it wasn't warranted. But Central Elgin chose to proceed at their own cost. I'm just wondering what the difference is between the one in, what makes this one warranted and the one in Belmont not warranted, both being on, county roads and both in the middle of towns.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden, it would have come down to the pedestrian crossing count over the period of time with which the analysis was being taken. So over a 4-hour period, a certain threshold has to be met with respect to the number of pedestrians crossing the road in order for the warrant to trigger the installation. And where it falls short of those requirements, the county currently has a policy whereby the local municipality could still elect to install that PXO at their cost. And that was the case as it relates to Belmont Road. It wasn't warranted in accordance with OTM, but local staff felt they still wanted to proceed with it. And accordingly, that was the cost of the municipality.
Just one further comment. In the road in Belmont is very dangerous to walk across. So I wouldn't be surprised there wasn't a lot of pedestrian crossing because most people were terrified to cross it. Traffic goes very fast because it's a very straight road right through the center of town. And so I'm just curious about that anyway.
Tongue in cheek, we got a Santa Claus parade coming up down there next week or so. We should maybe have staff come down and do the count that day, but tongue in cheek. Counselor.
My question, Mr. Warden, is, Bob, how many times did you go across the road?
Since he asked, I did check the numbers and I made sure I ran back and forth. So I've lost about 12 pounds, but in all seriousness, Doug was in the same position with another one we had requested on a county road by our school, and it didn't qualify, so we went ahead on our own. This particular intersection is tremendously busy. It's on an EDR. It has the municipal building on one corner. It also, in close proximity, straight across the road is the car dealership, and Service Ontario's in a municipal building. The liquor store is on the corner, the grocery store is on the corner, two banks are on near the corner, the gas station is on the corner. It's a very unique sort of situation with a lot of foot traffic happening, and the EDR is also a huge problem when it is used, and it gets used a lot anymore. So there is a difference in some of the roads, and I was a little frustrated when we didn't get the one by the school too, but this one does qualify. So if there's no question, I'd be more than happy to move approval of this one.
I'm certainly in favor of keeping people safe, so I have no hesitation in supporting this. So we have a mover, we have a seconder. Oh, Councillor Jones seconds that. Further discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? Carries. Thank you, Brian. And you're still up. Port Stanley Community Policing requests. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through to council. In response to correspondence received from the Port Stanley Community Policing Committee requesting that an always stop be implemented on East Road at Hill Street and to implement a restricted parking zone north of Warren Street on Sunset, staff reviewed a traffic impact study recently completed in support of nearby developments and undertook our own analysis, and accordingly only recommends that as detailed before, that the report be received and that the county's no parking bylaw be amended to include Sunset Road from the north property limits of Warren Street for a distance of 105 meters north on the east side of Sunset Road. As it pertains to the always stop control, the traffic impact study did analyze intersection control. The report was prepared in 2019 and did not recommend improvements to that intersection with respect to always stop control, even following entire development build out. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Questions, comments? Councillor Martin.
I understand that, and I agree with that. My understanding was, though, that eventually a roundabout is being proposed for where Dexter line comes in, which would slow traffic and allow, the road, which is very, very close to that.
Through you, Mr. Warden, there's no plans to install a roundabout right now. There have been discussions with local staff as it pertains to another nearby development whereby a roundabout may be proposed, but those are merely conceptual discussions at this point in time, and we've not seen anything in detail with respect to the proposed development.
Brian, I agree with your recommendation. But I think Councillor Martin, myself, we get an awful lot of complaints and observations that the traffic on East Road is terrible. I was down at the East Elgin Arena watching my great nephew play hockey on Saturday and run into former police chief Bill Lynch, who lives right down there. And I asked him his opinion. And he said, most of the people who are doing it are neighbors. He says he even does it. It's such a long road, you kind of catch yourself a couple of times. Do you have any suggestions looking ahead? Because it seems like it's getting worse. I get complaints all the time. We have lowered the speed limit from one end to the other. And we encourage the police to do checks all the time, but we still get the complaints.
Yeah, the OPP have responded and are keeping a much closer eye on it. And several people have been charged, quite a few. I'm aware of that from the police services.
Yeah, to you, Mr. Warden, we certainly are in constant discussion with OPP as well. This is a hot spot. And staff are certainly well aware of many concerns with respect to this section of County Road. It's also under review as part of our transportation master plan. Again, while a roundabout is not proposed at this time, we are looking at the safety at the various intersections within the section of road. So I anticipate that there may be recommendations coming out as a result of that study, but I don't have any further details at this moment.
Councillor Martin?
Just one other thing is I know that a second entrance from that whole subdivision is we felt was very important, and that new section that's to be developed, that will be including a second exit from the Beamish, Larry, et cetera, subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. On behalf of the residents down there, thank you for your interest in ongoing checking up on it. So appreciate it. Further questions for Brian? And seconder for the recommendation, please. Deputy Warden Mennel and Councillor Jones. Ready for the question? All in favor? Carries. Thank you. CAO, request for ambulance donation. Go ahead, Julie.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. Through you to members of council, the purpose of this report is to assess council's interest in exploring or considering a donation of a surplus ambulance to St. John's Ambulance in St. Thomas. So if directed to do so, I'd be pleased to provide council with a comprehensive report for consideration at the December 9th meeting of council. And the recommendations are that council direct the CAO to discuss the proposed donation of a surplus ambulance with St. John's Ambulance and the City of St. Thomas, and that the CAO be directed to provide a follow-up report at a future meeting of County Council. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Julie. Councilor Martin.
I would certainly support your bringing that back because St. John's Ambulance do such an excellent job and they're totally supported through donations, et cetera. So I think it's an important consideration.
Further comments? Councilor McPhail.
Part of your review, Julie, I hope it would include what their planned service area is.
We're not really making a decision. We're requesting more information. No harm in that, I don't think. Further comments? Mover and seconder. Mayor French, Mayor Martin. Ready for the vote? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Again, Julie, proposed amendments to bylaw number 1941 to regulate the proceedings in the municipal council of the corporation of the county of Elgin and to repeal bylaw number 1838.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. Through you to members of council. Upon careful review of bylaw 1941 and in preparation for the upcoming warden's election, it is recommended that council consider clarifying and amending the procedures for the inaugural meeting and annual election of warden. So it is a pretty comprehensive report that is included in your agenda package, and the recommendations are that the report from the CAO titled Proposed Amendments to Bylaw 1941 to regulate the proceedings in the Municipal Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin and to repeal bylaw 1838 be received and filed, and that council approve the proposed amendments as presented to bylaw 1941. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor McPhail.
This, I take my bylaw 1941. That's when this bylaw that we've been working on was originally established. 1941.
In 2019.
19, oh, okay. Gonna say, wow. I wouldn't had some dust on it when you looked at it. Okay, that's comforting.
Further comments? Are we good with the proposal or? Mover and seconder, if you are. McPhail, second by Ketchabah. Further discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you, Julie. Still up, appointment of deputy clerk and deputy clerk's alternate.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. 3 to members of council. Purpose of this report is to seek council's approval and authorization for a bylaw appointing a deputy clerk and a deputy clerk alternate. 2 deputy clerk alternates for the purpose of planning matters. One more time. Scratch that. The purpose of this report is to seek council's approval for the appointment of a deputy clerk and a deputy clerk alternate, as well as a deputy clerk alternate for the purposes of planning in conformance with the Municipal Act. And I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Julie. Questions, comments for Julie? Fairly straightforward. Word and seconder, please. Jagger and Jones. Ready for the question? All in favor? Again, that carries. Thank you. Julie, you're still up. Appointment of a treasurer and deputy treasurer.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. And the purpose of this report is to seek council's approval and authorization for a bylaw appointing treasurer and deputy treasurer in conformance with the Municipal Act. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Councilor Martin.
How long would you anticipate? Like, I'm assuming eventually we'll be hiring a new treasurer, that this is an interim thing to cover. Is that my understanding?
Yes, if I may, through you, Mr. Warden, to members of council, that is the plan at this time, and a fulsome interim plan will be provided to county council at an appropriate time in the coming month, I would say.
Councilor McPhail.
So moved.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Purcell. Further discussion. I will call the vote. All in favor? Carries. Thank you. Council correspondence. First up, items for consideration. Don't see any. Items for information, consent agenda. We have second stage housing with fall, winter newsletter. Comments? We need to receive that. Motion to receive and file. Jagger, Jones, further comments? I will call the vote. All in favor? Carries. Thank you. We are at other business. Number 1, statements, inquiries by members. See none.
Just a comment. I have been watching the text on the screen over there, and I must say it's very, very entertaining. I don't know if I've really paid so much attention to a meeting in the last little while as I have. So, yeah, it's brought a whole new concept to county council meeting.
Comment, Deputy Ward, go ahead.
Just a comment, and Catherine has told me that there is a video from the Warden's Banquet for those who weren't able to attend. So we'll pass it over to Catherine to have that video at this point in time.
Warden Marks made it a priority to take our amazing community and make it even better. He encouraged collaboration and participation from among all of our municipalities in order to continue to build a bright future for Elgin County. Despite the challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic presented, the Warden and Council have a lot to celebrate. Council undertook a full structural, mechanical, and electrical rehabilitation of the King George Lift Bridge in Port Stanley, the Village of Rodney reconstruction in West Elgin, and the removal of the temporary bridge in Port Bruce, repurposing it in Southold. Council also supported a number of progressive organizational changes to bring engineering design in-house, to focus on digital transformation, and to enhance planning and land division services for our residents. Work is well underway on the Terrace Lodge redevelopment, and we're working with the Township of Southold to facilitate the redevelopment of the former Ford Assembly Plant in Southold. Council has encouraged two-way communication with our community by launching a dedicated engagement site. They've made it a priority to gather information directly from our community on a variety of issues and initiatives, including the official plan review, connectivity in Elgin, the transportation master plan, the 2022 budget, and the Terrace Lodge redevelopment. Council is supporting our local municipal partners in a variety of new ways to improve the services we offer to our community and in an effort to find efficiencies. We've recently been recognized by the provincial government as a regional fire training school, and we've developed new partnerships in the areas of human resources and community emergency management. The most significant issue we've tackled is our ongoing response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Warden Marks was really dedicated to working with council and staff in handling all the challenges and changes we faced as we worked through the pandemic. Warden Marks is well known as being a community champion. He leads council with integrity and compassion. He helps, supports, and guides the many initiatives and projects that the county is engaged in. He harnesses the shared determination of council and staff, and he wholeheartedly believes that collectively we can accomplish anything. I love that Warden Marks regularly reminisces about the accomplishments of wardens and councils that preceded us. He's honored to be the warden and take what his predecessors have achieved and continue to drive it forward. I also love that the warden is always willing to attend community events, meetings, present at staff workshops, and connect with other levels of government. He worked hard, he was present, and he aspired to be a warden who really helped. Warden Marks is a proud husband, father to two beautiful girls, and grandfather. I can pretty much guarantee that whenever I meet with the warden, he has a funny or adorable story to share about his granddaughter, Olivia. The warden believes in building and supporting a resilient community that respects our rich agricultural heritage, looks to the future with forward thinking, and most of all, takes care of one another. In 2021, we were really proud to have hosted a Warden's Golf tournament that raised $20,000 in support of the Elgin Middlesex United Way. Warden Marks would often say, striving for success without hard work is like trying to harvest where you haven't planted. The warden learned the value of hard work by working hard himself. He often talks about getting up early, milking cows, and working 15-hour days on the farm. To Warden Marks, there is no substitute for hard work. I have been incredibly fortunate to work with 5 really amazing wardens. Each warden has been skilled, dedicated, and driven. Warden Marks, you're much the same. It's great to have a boss who recognizes our accomplishments and who values dedication and hard work. Your dedication and love for our community has amazed me. I'd like to personally thank you on behalf of Elgin County for your incredible service to our community.
I think this is where I say, wow. Go ahead.
Warden Marks, I just want to certainly congratulate staff on that excellent video. It just brought out the highlights for the year. I know it's dealing with COVID. I dealt with it the previous year and it wasn't easy and there was always things to stumble over, but business moved ahead and staff was excellent and I just want to congratulate you on an excellent year as well.
From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I thank each and every one of you. I'm reminded when you sit in this chair and you think, people have been doing it for almost 170 years. The challenges, the passion, the results. It's a privilege to sit here. It's a privilege to sit in this horseshoe. I've found last year, sometimes I'll take a minute and just think, this will not last forever. Enjoy it. And I have. Working with this county staff is a huge honor. And I've said more than once, if you have good employees, value them. Especially, and that's at any time in any industry, but in this job market, we're very fortunate for some of the people we have. It's been a privilege. Yeah. And I spent a fair bit of time with my granddaughter yesterday, and I'll tell you, it is a blessing. All right, I'll get the smile off my face. We'll get back to work, but thank you, everybody. Wow. Other business, notice of motion. Is that where we're at? Matters of urgency. Okay. We're at closed meeting items. Entertain a motion to move into closed session. Moved by Martin, second by French. All in favor? All right, take a break till we get ready.
Stayed there.
Probably we're getting hungry, so let's finish the meeting. Need a motion to come out of closed session. Moved by Ketchabah, second by Mennel.
Catch monster.
They were coming out of closed session into open.
That was catch by.
That carries. Thank you. We're back in live session. Welcome back. Where am I? Need a motion to adopt recommendations from committee.
We'll do the reports coming out of each closed
Okay.
session item.
Please go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. So for closed session item number 1, which was insurance, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Ketchabah, Mennel.
Here, go this time.
I got it.
I'll call the vote. All in favor.
Catch the ball. I thought I'm correct.
It is fun to see.
All
Oh, it's hilarious.
all in favor? Hands up. Thank you. It carries. Next, please.
For closed session item number 2, which was in regard to telecommunications, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Purcell, second by French.
Personal second.
Call the vote. All in favor? That carries. Thank you.
Closed session item number 3, which was a property matter, be it resolved that the confidential report from the chief administrative officer be received.
Moved by McPhail, Jagger. All in favor? That carries.
For closed session item number 4, which was the CAO's performance appraisal, be it resolved that the county solicitor proceed as directed.
Moved by Jagger, Martin. All in favor? Carries. Thank you. Motion to adopt recommendations from the committee of the whole. Moved by French, second by McPhail. All in favor? And that carries. Bylaws.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 21-41, bylaw to amend the schedule to bylaw number 20-05 being a consolidated bylaw for the regulation of traffic, including parking on county roads.
Moved by Martin, second by Mennel. All in favor? Carries. Thank you. Next.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 21-42, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 19-41, referred to as the procedural bylaw.
Moved by Purcell, Catchable. All in favor? Carries. Thank you.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 21-43, being a bylaw to appoint a deputy clerk and deputy clerk alternate for the corporation of the county of Elgin and to repeal bylaw number 20-30.
Moved by McPhail, second by Mennel. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 21-44, being a bylaw to appoint a treasurer and deputy treasurer for the corporation of the county of Elgin and to repeal bylaw number 8-29 and bylaw number 20-31.
Thank you. Moved by Jagger, second by McPhail. Call the vote. All in favor? Carries.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 21-45, being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of the municipal council of the corporation of the county of Elgin at the November 23rd, 2021 meeting.
Moved by Purcell, second by French. We'll call the vote. All in favor? And that carries. We're at the bottom. I think it'd be appropriate. We've said thank you quite a few times today, but I want to do it one more time. It's been a good year and I appreciate your support. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just have one comment.
Okay.
Can Councillor Tetchabah and myself apply for a new name?
I think mental should too.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I think that we need to,
And the warden, the name for the warden is been on too. Word something.
we can operate in impunity here because nobody knows what we said.
All right. Did I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Seconded. I will call the vote.
Seconded, sorry.
McPhail,
Mennel?
McPhail.
Somebody did.
I don't know. I started.
Look out there, you won't have a clue.
I will call the vote. All in favor? All in favor. All right, thank you. We ended with a smile. Good.